Hello, and welcome to a very special Hearts of Iron series. Now, Kaiserreich, as I had previously mentioned, has a lot of very cool and interesting country paths, even for like little tiny states like Bhutan over here. Bhutan is like a fully realized country in Kaiserreich. Siam, all of these little Chinese warlord miners. Uh, Transamer is getting dummied down next patch, but which probably is live by this point. Um, but for me in the past, it hasn't gone live. But Albania, Serbia, like the Papal State, Sardinia, all of these little tiny states, they have all this content. But there are a few states that don't have anything. Now, these are usually states that are there are either changes planned for them in the future. Hungary is a great example of that. Like, there's an Austria patch coming down the line, but there's no content for Hungary, Bohemia, Galicia, and Lodomeria or Illyria at this point. There may be in your future. I think the only country that has no content and no content planned is the Philippines. And even the Philippines technically has events associated with it. It's just incredibly bare bones. But for now, none of these Central Asian states have any content associated with them. None at all. And so I've decided, what the hey? Let's explore the generic Kaiserreich focus tree, which we do have, while we still have it. And let's see how long we can hold out. Inevitably, the Russians, no matter how nice or mean, quote unquote, they end up being, they're going to try to reclaim Central Asia. It's just, that's how it works. So, as a result, we're going to try to not have Central Asia be claimed. Now, that's going to be hard because we have 2 civilian factories, 1 military factory, and, oh yeah, how many technology slots? We have 1. 1 technology slot. So let's just call this a let's fail to be. I'm thinking that this is inevitably going to be a let's play that ends in defeat or in just a very boring stalemate. But I wanted to give it a shot because it's just it's weird, and I like weird. All right. Okay. So you'll note that we are currently there's a deficit of guns. None of our troops have enough guns. And we're going to be on the defense basically exclusively. So we're going to look at who's got high organization, who's got high defense. It's infantry. Though, actually, our horsey boys have cavalry, have better defense starting off. That being said, I think that there's very little reason for us to not stick with infantry. Now, how many infantry can we have? We can have 5 divisions. So we're going to train our 5th division. And now I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but it is going to get priority. Look at that. It's going to get priority for supply over everything. Wow. That's a mistake. I mean, maybe. Maybe it's a mistake. But, we'll do what we're going to do. So we're going to put Muhammad in charge of our army. We're going to put, well, this is our best guy, Ibrahim Bek, in charge of that. Is going to be where our troops are going to be living. Now, the weak point in our defenses is this tile. We want to be able to have Dushanbe connect to Samarkand, connect to Bukhara, probably by rail. We can, by the way, we can unify Central Asia. I can't. This is our quote-unquote end game goal. Here's a hint. It's not going to happen. But we do need to assign our military equipment to be produced. If we can, we want to get probably some support artillery. It reduces our organization by 10, which is considerable. But it does improve. It does improve our ability to do damage, which is something. I think what we really want in the long term is engineering, because we want support equipment and then we want equip this. It'll let us dig in. I think it improves our entrenchment. Great. And it gives us extra defense bonuses. I don't think on any terrain that matters for us. Yeah. So maybe not. Maybe we're just doing all infantry all the time. We probably want to do defensive doctrine. We may want charismatic as well when we get there. But for now, let's look at how long it takes for us to build a military factory. It's going to take us till 1939 to build one military factory. It takes even longer to build a civilian factory. It's going to take us till 41. Now, we can get factories from our industrial methods focus tree. So it's just not efficient for us to spend our one civilian factory building anything that is not, like, incredibly basic. I think it's around 38 that we get attacked. We're going to spend this time building very basic forts and building a railway. Maybe. I don't actually know if that's a good idea. I don't think we need a railway because we don't have any trains. Do we even have trains researched? Oh boy. Yeah. So, no railways for now. It's just going to be forts. Because, well, we're going to do level 1s first. Yeah. And then we're going to go down our focus tree. Now, there's a few things that are potentially valuable to us. Extra army experience is really nice because we're not going to be able to have our armies do practice. Training is what it's called. We're going to be able to have our armies do training. Getting extra land doctrine is good. That's going to give us potentially an edge. Research bonuses are nice. But this isn't our primary focus. Our primary focus is going to be industrial methods, which gives us any industry. And I cannot stress this enough. We have 0 industry. It can get us a second research slot. And political reform, which gives us political power. Something we get at a normal rate. We get that at a normal rate. Now, it's worth noting, we have no political advisors. If we build an intelligence agency, which we will not be doing because that costs us like very valuable civilian factories, we get one of an elusive gentleman. Ain't that nice? But we do have the potential to boost our conscription from volunteer to limited, and then like further, eventually, but not now. We have a potential to go to early mobilization, which it will not do anything that we incredibly need. This isn't super important right now. This isn't super important right now. It probably will be in the medium term. However, there are some... Uh-oh. Yeah, we're in a very dire spot. We can't get military staff. We have no valid military staff. We're in a position. Which leaves us with basically one thing that we want to beeline for with our... really two. Industrial research speed, which is like... or generic industrial company, which will give us critically the plus 10% research speed. We're not going to be building any factories, so that doesn't matter. Okay, not super important. Generic arms company gives us soft attack and breakthrough, which is nice. Basically, none of these other things produce anything that matters. So we have learned that we basically don't need any of these. Okay, so political reform is nice. 200 political power is great, but we need factories, and we need them very badly. Okay. Normally, I would recommend that we pick up extra research speed, because that plus 3% research speed, like, multiplies. It creates a multiplicative effect. Wow, that's awesome. I love it when I can spend my resources to get more efficient new resources. It's a classic, like, macro technique of just like, oh, I research a thing that makes all my stuff more efficient, so I can get more stuff to do more research to get more efficiency, all that stuff. But we only have one research slot, so it's not actually a great use of our time. What we want... do we want extra construction speed? See, that's actually potentially very valuable. Extra factory output, also valuable. Production efficiency, valuable. In the long term, we're going to want this. Support weapons. But that's when, like, war is upon us. Now, I would like to get Weapons 1 eventually. But I would like to get Weapons 1 optimally after I get Generic Arms Company. Because that would put us in a position where the extra arms we're producing also give us the plus 5 soft attack, plus 5 breakthrough, which again doesn't do much if all we're doing is defending, but it's something, I guess. We are not building tanks. We may end up going to artillery at some point, but we'd already talked about support companies. It's a sort of a stretch goal. But it seems like the thing that we really want is extra construction speed, or something like it. I'm thinking basic machine tools, right? Basic machine tools is great. Ah, that's true. That is one thing we can do. We can... let's look at the resources our country's producing. That's under trade. Okay, we actually do have some resources. But given that we are, like, producing so little, but we will produce more. It's actually not then necessarily a great idea for us to go to free trade. Anyways, industrial methods is the answer. I think basic machine tools is what we're going to go with. Those of you who know more about the game than me may be yelling at the screen, which I respect. And that's basically the decisions we're going to make. I'm going to go to 2 on all of these, just to make sure that we don't miss anything. And now we go to maximum speed and wait until we get another chance to make a decision. It's going to be a lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. How barbaric. That event is going away. It may already be gone when this comes out. La la la. Totalist Charter. Eddie 8. We're getting there. Now, I probably do not want to deploy. There's the war in Afghanistan. Hey, do we want to intervene in this? This is an important question. We can send volunteers. That is something we're allowed to do. It's a reformer. Anyways, we could send our troops to Afghanistan. Do we want to? I think Afghanistan is fairly doomed in its efforts, and it's not worth our very scarce resources to get, like, extra XP there. So we're not gonna do that. Who cares about Afghanistan? And there's the Black Monday. It doesn't affect us at all. Good work, Frenchies, for electing some guys. Rest in peace, Dogmeat General. Austrian Empire. See you later. Bye-bye. Qing hegemony shatters, and the Chinese Civil War begins in earnest. Obviously, we don't care. Thinking about what wars we might intervene in, I cannot think of any that would immediately pop up. Alright. The Australians have gone commie. Okie dokie. Alright. So, our first real choice. Do we get more guns or more production? Now these are like, this is like a reasonable amount of military factories. I think we really would love more guns. Even though that will delay us getting to research councils, which, you know, that's what we want. Okay, First International. We want to get here, we want to get here. These are very efficient. But I would like to get guns, and I'd like to get them fast. Alright, so is Afghanistan independent? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Then a potential route for southern expansion. Ha 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 ha. It remains open, because they're not a Entente puppet. It's a joke, because we're never going to do that. We're just going to be sitting in here forever, for all eternity. The left KMT is fighting on King. Oh, okay. Iran went socialist. That's not relevant. But it's interesting, I guess. La 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 la. Look how fast our progress is. Look at this, it crawls. Oop, there's a event timeout. That wasn't anything. We could... Okay, we now have 100 political power, which means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Alright, we have to wait to 150 to get anything at all. I think we have to... It might be possible to... Yeah, eventually we can get these guys into the officer corps, but they need to be a high enough level. Which means we may eventually have, like, an infantry specialist who we can put in our, like, military high command. Alright, lots of revolution. It's one of the themes of the first 2 years of Kaiserreich, is lots of civil wars and revolutions. Alright, so our powers have been doubled, except that they have not. Uh-oh. Why haven't they been doubled? Well, I'm trying to find the UI element, but the point is consumer goods. Oh! Never mind, it's just lag. And now we're running into insufficient resources. Now what we want to do, it doesn't matter a ton at this point. It's only a 5% decrease in productivity, okay? On to researching. Oh, and we have a 100% improvement. All right. So, faster production or more factory output? I'm thinking we do more factory output. We really want to have an excess of guns for when our war starts. Like, we really need that to do anything at all. Manuel Carles, I think that's how the pronounced takes Argentina. No surprises there. That was the 100 I was thinking about. We could do that if we wanted. It would boost our stability, reduce our factory output, but we basically have none. It is better to do this earlier. And I think we should probably do it. It's a pain. It's a real pain, but, you know, we want to do it now. Get that extra modern socialism. We shall see. We want to get that extra stability early because it has a payoff. Siam. I see, Uh-oh. Yeah, we need so much. Excellent. Now, we can't get any more of that. And what we can do is add more infantry, but we don't have any army experience. So we're capped on the military for now. So I'm going to bump reinforcements to high priority, which should allow us to fill in with guns. And once, like, alright, that always happens. New Zealand crisis, baby. Yeah, once our current fighting strength gets, like, closer to 100. Oh, Nanjing is bringing it back. That normally doesn't happen. Yeah, so because of the maximum number of divisions, we're kind of locked in. Now what we do want to do is start practicing. But it's always a trade-off. I think we are going to wait. Waiting, waiting, waiting. This game is a lot of waiting. That's why we're doing this. And only minus 10% due to lack of resources. Oh, Siamese Civil War. Neither of them have generic focus trees. I just want to check on that. I don't think we need solidify control. Well, surely not monocolonial subjects. Now, the benefit of free trade is just more production, but we are kind of reliant on, you know, things. We're kind of reliant on the few we actually do have any steel at all. It may be worth it to do that anyways, but I haven't done the math, so you're stuck. You're stuck with me. Avant-garde. Truly curious. Anyways. How are we doing on... We're up to 60%. Alright. Arabian Civil War. So we're thinking. We may want to do this. Monarchist, Restoration, Republicans in Serbia, wowzers. Okay. Now we go down to industrial grants. We can get transport planes. That's not useful. Only 60 days left. Alright. Things are got to get spicy. Okay. Now, what we could do is we can increase our popularity, which increases basically our political power. And I don't think the ruling party popularity, I think it can contribute. But right now, we're looking at several possibilities. Generic industrial. That does increase our industrial research speed, and we are going to be doing industrial research. That's pretty good. In the long term, this might be good. Ah. See, I hadn't been paying attention. We now have 7 maximum supported divisions, which means we should probably go to limited conscription, so we have more population available. So we do this. Not a huge deal, but... Boink. Unfortunately, that... Okay, our shortages are not too bad. How's our fort production going? Unfortunately, this is the reason why we want to go to, like, partial mobilization. I think this is where we're going next, so we can get back our one civilian factory. Because as we get more factories, the penalty from consumer goods is going to get worse and worse and worse. So that is where our political power is going to be going. Our police crackdown is almost over. Spanish Civil War. Bulgarian dictatorship. Alright. I think I'm going to try to train these guys up. Hey, and give them some cold acclimatization, which is nice. I think that's more of an issue for us than hot. Maybe. We got a war. I don't know if that's a war we can intervene in. Libs win in Brazil, good for them. Don't really care. Oh, ANIQ. Good for them. Hey, that's one of the upsides of being a Muslim country, is we get political power from Ramadan. Mubarak indeed. Socialists win in Norway, betraying Hakon's trust. Rest in pieces. And let's see if this recalculates. Yes, now we have tons of coups. Now we have, and they joined Third International. Now we have more production in Bukhara. Very pog. Oh, there's so many civil wars in China. So many civil wars. So many civil wars. I think we're going to get prompted to see if we want to intervene in this, but the answer is no. Like, it would let us train up our guys, but East Turkestan is probably going to become a Russian ally. Bolivian coup. It is now firmly 1937. So I'm going to actually put a cut in here, and we will return at the beginning of 1937 and see where things go. I'm more optimistic than I was at the beginning of this. We're beginning to spin up the wheels of war and prepare for the inevitable desperate defense that we're going to have to do against the Russian tide. See you then.